Hey, I'm Rob Zombie, and welcome to the 20th anniversary screening of The Devil's Rejects. Now, The Devil's Rejects, as you may or may not know, is the sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, a movie that, upon its release, was successful enough that Lionsgate came to me after its release the following weekend and said, we'd like a sequel, House of a Thousand Corpses 2. And I struggled with that for a minute because you never want to turn down the opportunity to make a movie because it's very difficult to get them made. But I did not want to make House of a Thousand Corpses 2, where we go back to the house and we have another group of unsuspecting people coming to the house to be slaughtered one by one. So I thought to myself, I'll do something different. By this point, nobody cared about the victims, and I only cared about the villains, as did the fans. I knew they loved Captain Spaulding and Baby and Otis. These were the characters people focused on. So I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the movie, get away from the house, get rid of some of the extra characters, because there's too many. Even though I love them, there's just too many. That's why, I killed off Rufus in the beginning. Don't explain Grandpa, because the actor that played him had passed away in the meantime, so we just let that roll. And then eventually Mother Fly, played this time by Leslie Easterbrook, gets killed while in custody. So I took that premise and decided I'm going to make a 1970s Western. A bleak, washed out looking film, because House of a Thousand Corpses was very, very colorful, wacky. The style of editing, everything about it was just a little nutty. So I thought, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I want to keep a very specific tone, a very specific color palette, and just keep it a certain way through the whole movie. No abrupt shifts and changes like in Corpses. And that's what I did, and basically made like a postmodern Western, a sheriff chasing three outlaws to a giant showdown. Now, as a lot of people have asked me, why is Dr. Satan not in the movie? Well, I did film scenes with Dr. Satan, and Wayne Toth, we reworked the makeup a little, Wayne Toth did, to make it a little more realistic, for a more realistic setting. I filmed him being pulled out of the house on a stretcher by the police. I filmed him in the hospital. But the scenes just didn't work. I went into the editing room on day one and told my editor, everything with Dr. Satan, immediately take it out of the movie. I don't even want to look at it right now, because I knew it didn't work. I knew the movie had taken on a different tone. As soon as the movie starts and you hear the Allman Brothers' Midnight Rider, there's no place for Dr. Satan in the movie. So that's what I did. And speaking of music, there's some very significant music in the movie, from the opening with the Allman Brothers to the ending with, of course, Freebird, and which at the time people kind of thought was crazy, because I'm like, I'm going to end the movie to 7 minutes of Freebird, and people thought that was kind of ridiculous, but it works. I knew it would work, because it's like the most epic song ever written. But another piece of music that I would like to discuss, that I cannot express how important Terry Reid was to the movie. And unfortunately, recently we lost Terry, and it was very sad. Terry's music became so important for me and these characters, because there were certain scenes in the movie that I just couldn't find the right music. And then when I came upon the Seed of Memory record, I was really desperate at that point. We were sitting there with it for a long time, and we started using songs like, these are perfect. And like, especially the song Seed of Memory, because I was like, after the Freebird ending, I'm like, where do you go with it? I need something. And that song just perfectly lets the movie simmer down when the credits roll, so you can just sort of leave there feeling wiped out. So it's very, very sad that we lost Terry. And when I made Three from Hell, I included several more Terry Reid songs, because I always felt, in fact, his song Faith to Arise was the inspiration for Three from Hell. Every time I would hear that song, because I didn't use it previously, I was like, I could see a sequel in my mind. So I can't thank him enough for his music. Anyway, this screening is definitely dedicated to Terry Reid and everything he did for us to make this movie great. So enjoy. 20 years later, here it is, The Devil's Rejects.